In a world where technology permeates every aspect of our lives, one would expect that the advancement of satellite imagery would be used primarily for scientific analysis, geographic mapping, and urban development. However, what if I told you that a decades-old mystery, one that had baffled investigators, devastated a family, and left a whole community without answers, was solved not by forensic specialists or law enforcement, but rather by an ordinary individual casually scrolling Google Earth? This is the tragic yet extraordinary case of William Moldt, a man who disappeared without trace, whose final moments remained obscured by time, until a single satellite image led to the shocking realization of his fate. Join me as I investigate this case and explore the profound implications of technology in forensic discovery. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So this case that I'm covering grabbed my attention because the idea of the evidence of a crime laying in full view for decades is just so intriguing. I also love scrolling through Google Earth, finding random locations and just trying to see if I can come across anything vaguely interesting. So this really opens up the possibility for so many other things being discovered on satellite imagery. And I know that this isn't the only case where this has happened, but I personally had never heard of this one, and I just thought it was very interesting. So yeah, let's get into it. So to give you a quick background, William Moldt was a 40-year-old established mortgage broker living in Lantana, Florida, living what many would consider a stable and structured existence. Those who knew him described him as responsible, reserved, and calculated in his decisions. A man of routine who was known for his meticulous nature, someone who would not take unnecessary risks, let alone simply vanish without explanation. On the evening of November 7th, 1997, Moldt embarked on what should have been a routine night out. He visited a nightclub in Palm Beach, reportedly consuming a modest amount of alcohol. At approximately 11 p.m, he made a phone call to his girlfriend, informing her that he was on his way home. The certainty of that statement, "I'm heading home," would soon become an eerie prelude to one of Florida's most perplexing missing persons cases. This was not a man known for reckless behavior, nor one who would willingly disappear. His financial records showed no erratic activity. His social circles reported no significant distress in his personal life, and he had no known enemies. Yet, within the span of an hour, he ceased to exist within the public sphere, leaving no evidence of where he had gone or what had happened. When William Moldt failed to return home, his family reported his disappearance, triggering an extensive investigation. His vehicle, a white 1994 Saturn SL, was unaccounted for, making it one of the most baffling aspects of the case. Law enforcement mobilized search teams, patrolling roadways, interviewing witnesses, and scouring nearby lakes and marshlands. Yet there were no physical indicators, no wreckage, no indication of a struggle, and no verifiable sightings since the nightclub that evening. Aerial surveys and dive teams explored bodies of water deemed possible crash sites, but Moldt's vehicle evaded detection. With no digital tracking in the late 1990s and limited forensic technologies available for missing persons cases, investigators relied on traditional methodologies, which yielded no progress. His financial accounts showed no transactions, his phone remained inactive, and with the absence of any viable leads, his case was ultimately categorized as a cold case, remaining unresolved for over 2 decades. The question which plagued investigators was simple yet haunting. How could a man and his vehicle completely vanish, especially in a region densely populated with infrastructure and residential development? Theories ranged from voluntary disappearance to potential abduction or foul play, but without substantial evidence, none of these theories held any weight. His family was left in a state of limbo, trapped between hope and despair with no closure in sight. For over 22 years, the case of William Moldt remained a mystery, frozen in uncertainty until an unexpected revelation emerged in 2019. A former resident of the Grand Isles housing complex located in Wellington, Florida, was casually perusing Google Earth when he noticed an unusual shape beneath the surface of a retention pond. Upon closer examination, the shape bore an unmistakable resemblance to a submerged vehicle. Intrigued by the discovery, he reached out to a current resident of the neighborhood, who deployed a drone to capture aerial footage of the location. The images confirmed what the satellite had revealed. A vehicle sat motionless beneath the murky waters, just yards from the residential backyards. Authorities were contacted, and upon arrival, forensic divers retrieved the heavily corroded white Saturn SL from the depths. Inside the vehicle, skeletal remains were discovered. DNA analysis would later confirm that these were the remains of William Moldt, solving a mystery that had endured for over 2 decades. Forensic analysis provided insight into the circumstances surrounding Moldt's final moments. Given the undeveloped nature of the area at the time, it is believed that he miscalculated the turn, lost control of his vehicle, and plunged into the retention pond. In the absence of barriers or substantial lighting, the water's surface would have appeared as an extension of the roadway, making it nearly impossible to detect. Due to the car's immediate submersion, no external indicators of the accident were visible, allowing it to remain undetected for decades. The accumulation of silt and organic material obscured the vehicle from the investigators' prior investigations, further complicating discovery efforts. The reality is both tragic and unsettling. His final resting place had always been in plain sight, yet it took the technological evolution of satellite imagery for the truth to finally emerge. This case leads to the question, how many other mysteries are hiding just beneath the surface? How many missing persons, unsolved crimes, and forgotten histories are silently recorded in satellite imagery, unnoticed by the world? So I looked up Lantana, Florida, and it just looks like the most sunny, happy little place. I feel like it's very classic Florida from what I'm seeing. It looks like a lot of sort of beach homes. So the thing that stood out to me about this case is in the satellite imagery, you can see there are just houses surrounding this retention lake. I also had to look up what a retention lake is, or retention pond, because I've never heard of that before. But apparently it's something that's used to control water quality. So apparently the water stays in there and all the sediments and everything settle to the bottom. And after that, the water's then released into natural waterways. So something that I found confusing about this case was how in the satellite imagery you can see that where the car was found, it was just surrounded by these residential properties, and it does seem so unbelievable that you wouldn't be able to see this car from anywhere. But then I suppose if it was quite deep, maybe from the surface you wouldn't be able to see it. And to be fair, I think if I saw that image on Google Images, I think I would just think it was some rocks or something. Once you know it's a car, it's kind of obvious, but I can see how you might not even notice what that is. So I guess it kind of makes sense. Also, because it's a retention pond, I'm assuming no one goes in it. So yeah, it kind of makes sense how it could be undiscovered. But also, it's surprising that they wouldn't have searched those lakes if they were supposed to have been searching bodies of water. But I don't know how many different lakes there are or ponds there are around that area, and I think from the sediment it could have been hidden. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a bit of a different one for me. I've been wanting to get into doing some true crime and other interesting videos for a while, so I thought let's give it a go. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this case and what stood out to you about it. I know I definitely want to now binge Google Earth and go see what I can find on there. And yeah, let me know if there's any other true crime or true crime adjacent things that anyone's interested in knowing about more, and I will have a look at researching for a future video. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!